Hey, good morning, everybody. June 4th here, another Wednesday. So that means it's another Water Cooler Wednesday. And I'm joined, as always, by Dwayne Gibbs. Dwayne, what's happening?
Hey, not much. Good morning.
I've already had a busy morning on the other hand.
Have you?
And yeah, I had a case study I was getting ready for today, which we still may get to, but was thrown a little curveball in the form of a BPO on another deal.
Mm.
Like I said, I think we have five. But yeah, one, two, three, four, one, two, three, four, five deals that'll be closing within the next week or so. Um, one of them I think I've shown before. So I thought it would be cool to go back on that one to kind of illustrate to everybody when you're going through these deals, there's levels of due diligence. You're gathering information as you go along. And that's why I said the approach has always been gather information, organize it, analyze it, make a decision. And if your decision is to move forward, gather more information, reanalyze it, make another decision to ultimately either buy it or to say, we're done, we're out for whatever reason. And because you just don't have all the information at hand at any one time, to say I'm 100% in. Things can change, and I've got a bunch of studies on case studies on that. So I'm going to show you one that Dwayne, I think you've seen, but my audience, if you've seen it before, hang in there because I'm updating everything on this in real time with you because I literally was just working on this an hour before we got on well, maybe 30 minutes before we got on the call here. I started checking this out. So let me share my screen here, and there we go. So it's this one here. Instead of doing the full PowerPoint, because I'm going to be switching back and forth to a couple things, we'll start this way. So this is a deal up in Albany, Georgia, and I know I've looked at this before, and I'm sure I've talked about this one
Yeah.
before because it was listed a couple of times. It was listed back in January, and then interestingly enough, in May they raised the price a couple $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
They made some adjustments on the payments, which is kind of weird. Fewer payments remaining, and they uh, jumped the price up there. Um, but again, maybe to fit different thresholds when people are searching or what have you. So it's something I've had on my radar screen, and you might recall this one because it's the little house on the right. So it's that little brick house. It's owned by a property management company that bought it from this investor who owns the note. So an investor bought the property, sold it to this management company on seller financing, no other liens on it. And the management company's out of Los Angeles, California, way far away from Albany, Georgia. And my best understanding is there's a tenant in there. The note owner doesn't really know for sure, but based on the name, property management company in LA, I'm kind of assuming, they are renting the property out because it would make a nice little rental. It's a small house, a good looking neighborhood. It could fit a single or a couple in there. But of course, the obvious concern that I had back in this PowerPoint when I first created this thing, which is probably back at the beginning of the year, was the house next door. Oh, in fact, I think I talked about this one here because didn't I show the Bing map
Yeah, actually, we talked about it, I think, 2 weeks ago, and the
2 weeks
concern
ago?
we were trying to get a BPO on that just to see an update on the house.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so if it really looked that way, I mean, it's a cool little shotgun house.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
again, the numbers look good. The payment history is good from the property management company. I can track, I know the whole history of the property and I got it at a good price, at a pretty good discount. So we're at about a 12.5% yield on this one. But going back to the pictures that we have, and I'll do it this way instead. So yeah, let me update you on this now, which is BPO, which somehow got lost, but I just got it this morning. Where are you? There we go. I specifically, when I ordered this BPO, I specifically told them
I,
twice. I said,
I,
huh?
I know what you're going to say.
Get me pictures of the next door house. I said, I'd make that a
Mm.
part of it. He goes, external inspection on the outdoor house. I said, no, just pictures, all I need. So BPO came in, and again, we're looking good. I can see they went out there on the 29th of May, but for some reason the report got lost somewhere. But anyhow, so they're coming in at
And to
around
let everybody know, how much did you pay for the BPO roughly?
$80. Yeah, 80
Okay.
bucks.
All right. There you go.
72,000 to possibly 80,000, somewhere right in there. Areas declining, they mentioned a couple times, which is interesting. And I kind of noticed that in their comparables. So their comps are starting at 80, go up to 90,000 before adjustments. You can see they got adjusted down here, where the listings all are in the 70s. So yeah, I could see a little bit of decline, but nice tight comps. I mean, these are all, within a mile of the subject property, so that's always really good. So they made their adjustments in here and came up with that number. They did mention, the home is a nice newer home. The neighbor's yard is a bad eyesore. They have junk all over. They have chained up dogs. Um, they
Nothing's
noted that it was
changed.
necessary to expand, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so getting to the pictures now. So subject property looks good. All the comps were pretty good comps, as I said, and boom, here we go. So, what does the property look like a year later? Because I have uh,
Mm.
I have the pictures. Don't want that one. Let me do this. So if we go back historically, here's the property June 2023. So literally, we're looking at a year ago. This is what the next door neighbor's property looked like. Okay.
Hmm.
And BPO, end of May, so basically June, that's what we're looking at.
Wow.
I mean, I'm
They
trying
got rid
to
of some cars.
yeah, well, it's 2:30 in the afternoon, so don't know.
Oh,
See
yeah.
if I
Yeah.
can make
Yeah.
this a little bigger. I'm trying to give you a good little
Just trying to be positive.
view on this here. So they haven't gotten around to painting. That's for dang sure. Um,
Mhm.
sorry, bear with me. Let me bring this back up. So the trailer has been moved to the side. Bring in the ping pong table, the picnic table, and you can see the dog laying on there. Poor thing out there. He's got a little bowl of water, I guess, and chained to a pole. Nice. Trash can, riding lawnmower, trash can, cooler.
It looked better years ago than it does now.
They haven't gotten around to the paint, right? I mean, just absolutely nuts. So less whatever trash was here and the three vehicles, I don't know. Maybe the three vehicles come back at night. I have no idea. Um, but I mean, there's been nothing done externally on this house. In fact, I'm just noticing now the green vine has grown up pretty good on
Oh,
that wall,
yeah.
so they haven't
Yeah.
touched that thing in a
Yeah.
year. Um, good Lord. What do you do? I mean, there's no lawn to speak of, which
Mm.
kind of tells me, you see some tracks in there. So I'm thinking those vehicles just aren't there right now. At least this one, which again, you know, got the Ram 2500 out there, but
Yeah.
can't get
They cost more than
can't,
the whole daggone house.
can't get to the Home Depot and put a little paint on there. God. So my thought was, well, hopefully these are investors who are coming in next door and they're going to fix this thing up. But I'm getting really skeptical on that. It's
Mm.
been a year. A rehab like that, when I was doing rehabs in Orlando here,
So
we would
we,
be done and have that same thing sold in 90 days.
yeah.
House that size. Easy. And that could even include a new roof, which this one doesn't really seem to need, but we would have that thing knocked out in a heartbeat. So what do you do? So you got to think through that and go, well, if the tenants move out, is the landlord going to keep paying? Are they going to get late? Is the landlord out of LA just going to go, the heck with it? It's just a small property. We'll cut all losses and let it go back to the lender, which would be us. So if we took that property back, that's going to hurt your resale.
One of the tenants would be be in a
If
position to buy it.
yeah, or are the tenants are probably going to stay and they'll put up with it, right? Because they're probably getting good rent. It's a nice looking little property, but trying to sell that house to somebody else when you've got neighbors like that is rough. I mean, it's really rough. So, what do you think about and stuff like that? Well, right away, my brain went to, I got on AI here, and I mean, I just wrote this in before we got on. I explained it. I'm buying a note here. What's the zoning? And they corrected me. It should have been code enforcement. But what are the zoning laws in this area? And you can see I outlined it, and I said, here's the scenario. And they correctly pointed out to me, which of course is right, that zoning has to do with the housing and this and that, where zoning ordinances, which will be done under the code enforcement, would be how you address this. So it is code enforcement by the city. There's a phone number there that can be called. Um, animal control if that's an issue. And I don't know if it is or not. Um, File a complaint, So again, the use of AI in this business is great because right away I got the answer. I got all the phone numbers that I needed here. Um, yeah, that's tough. So what are the options when you're in a scenario like this, everybody? I've got the property, I've got it under contract. Sorry, got the note backed by the property under contract here. Got a good price, but again, as a smart investor, we have to look at worst case scenario. And worst case scenario is this management company out of LA possibly loses a tenant. I'm sure the rent agreement is coming up on 1 year. That's the other thing, right? Most leases are going to be a year. And based on when this property sold and everything else, we're coming up on that. In fact, let me double check that.
What was the history of the tenant? Do you know that?
No, the note owner doesn't know any of that. And the only, the I can't go directly to the borrower. The note owner can, but the note owner kind of had I have no idea what the deal is with the tenants or what they did. It's like,
Just
okay,
a number for them.
yeah. So October is when they bought or sold this property in 2021. October, yeah, 2021. And so it's been there a while. So October, so probably had it rented November, December. All right, so we got a little bit of time before a lease may be coming up if they've 2021 to 2022 to 23. Yeah, something to think about. But I just know taking that thing back and trying to resell it is going to be a tough way to go, even if you offer financing. When you have neighbors like that. If
I
I were
think
the note, yeah, if I were the note owner and because I pointed out these conditions and I sent them pictures, I mean, hell, just go on Google Maps. I mean, that's what I was looking at over here. Google Maps got it's not hard to see what that looks like. And now I've got updated pictures. I'm going to send them of this BPO. So we either move forward, we renegotiate, or we withdraw from the offer because it's just not going to be worth what we believed it would. In other words, we're looking at our risk first, and that's the way we have to look at it. I cut off the property value here. Let me see what that may have been. I'm gonna move that offline for a second. I gotta put in username and password, all that jazz. So just bear with me. Hmm. So in the original listing, okay, that's not bad. Yeah, they did have a value there in the 60s or so. So it wasn't like it was overvalued or anything like that, which already made it a little bit tight. But because it's been sitting there a while, the note has, I was able to negotiate that price down. But I don't know. They're asking 47. I got 42.9, 42.9, and you got a BPO of 70.
Coming in,
So,
I was, yeah,
it's not so 43 divided by 70, still 61%. So I'm coming in technically at 61% of the value. Um, but again, would I be able to actually sell it for that or have to discount that? So
mm,
interesting, interesting. And I'll make a decision on that, but because I'm partnering with someone on that, I'm going to run that decision by with them. I'm going to advise them properly on this, and uh, I won't give it away. I think I already know what I'm going to do, but I'll save it for another episode and let you all stew
I
on that a
figured you
little bit
did.
and think think about what you would do, and I'll let you know how it ends up. So right now we're already at 12.5% here and at 42.9, backed by a $70,000 property with an eyesore neighbor. Now, if I do buy that, if we do end up closing on that, there will be some phone calls to code enforcement. I mean, you just have to do it. And it won't be the neighbors. It'll be some company out of Florida they won't know about. So anyway. All right, pretty interesting though, huh?
Yeah, I mean, a whole year has gone by and they haven't done anything with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Um, with the property, it's surprising, but not yet surprised.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
some
was,
some people just really they don't care, and I think the best out here is possibly having the tenant purchase the house because I think that's going to be the only person that does that. But again, depending on the price that you're able to, if you had to take it back and you had to resell it, you know, um, declining area, moving into a house like that
yeah.
with
As
your
long as the property
neighbors.
manager pays, that's fine. Keep it as a rental. I like the idea that it's a rental,
Sure, yeah.
because they're getting in more than the debt service is. In other words, they're collecting more in rent than they have to pay on the monthly payment. I mean, the monthly payment on that is only $635 a month, and that includes taxes and insurance.
Mm.
So I'm sure they're renting that's a smaller house, so maybe renting that for $900. It gives them a $300 spread on that for expenses and what have you to look at, but that's not bad. So I prefer that it's done that through rental, and hope that the property manager has been paying since 2021, so it does have some other sides to it. They originally borrowed 55,000 on it, and I'm sure it puts some money down on it as well. And let's see if I can find that. Yeah, put 5,000. So they bought it for 60 grand, which makes sense. 5 grand down, and they've been paying on a $55,000 note.
Pay history looks okay.
Yeah, pay history looks good. Yeah.
Mm.
So on the other side. So all right. All right. Well, here's the one that I had planned for us. And you can see on this one, huge down payment. And pretty interesting little deal here on this one. So there's the property, you know.
Nice house.
Yeah, and neighborhood looks good. And house is worth about 150 grand. So a little nicer collateral. And whoops, here's what we're looking at. This is a mom and pop note, and property sold for 149.9, and they put $104,000 down.
Wow. They're not going nowhere.
No payments made yet. Okay, now maybe the May payment came in. I'm waiting on the answer to that one. So this was just created in April of this year.
Hmm.
So when you create the note in April, since we pay in arrears, the first payment's in May. So they should have made a payment in May already. I'm going to find out about that. But 104, almost $105,000 down. Okay. Well, where did that come from? Pretty interesting.
That's sizable.
So what happened was the borrower, and here's the letter. Okay. The borrower who's now living in this house, the one who put down the $104,930, her previous home was taken through eminent domain. And eminent domain is a government procedure that allows them to seize property for an overall common good and for the community, which usually means we're increasing the highway, we're putting a new roadway in, we have a flood zone, so we're going to take these five houses and make a flood zone there, because every year the thing's flooding. So things like that, it's supposed to be done. And yes, you've read some things where it's been abused, where they put a mall in that they said, oh, the community needs the mall. Okay, I get it. But that's what eminent domain is all about. Without eminent domain, government can't seize individual properties. Okay, so eminent domain is localized laws that say we can take it if it serves the overall benefit, et cetera, to the community. So her previous home was taken. Well, when they take a property like that, they have to compensate for it. In fact, when I would go way back, when I was a commercial real estate appraiser, the first project we worked on was along Oak Ridge Road in Orlando. And Oak Ridge Road was going from two-lane to two lanes on each side. So a big expansion on both sides. We had to go down that entire street and appraise every home as is, every home with 6 feet less plus a sidewalk, and then what the 6 feet and the sidewalk was worth. So we had to appraise the same property three different times to come up with a value. Well, sometimes in taking that, there were big trees, big oak trees. Hence the name of the road there. Um, those trees are worth money. So we had to bring out a tree appraiser that would come out and go, yeah, that tree is worth about $1,200. It's been there 80 years, so it was a huge, huge project. It took us over a year to do that. And people can challenge it and this and that because every homeowner in that case was getting compensated for the land that we were taking and how to value their property. In this case, again, they established what she was entitled for, sent her the letter, and basically sent her package. So she found this house and put that money as the form of down payment. Now, of course, trust but verify, right? So we have the letter, explains the whole thing, and then we've got the settlement statements there. So everything is in the settlement statements, and you can see she bought it for 149, and you can see down here somewhere that she ended up getting it. Oh, it's off screen there. I got to fix that on my PowerPoint. Move that up a little bit. All right, and then she got the $104,000 here. Okay. So all that's good, all that checks out. It was done under a land contract. Now, quite frankly, that surprised me a little bit. Any thoughts on why?
Um, just I don't know because of the from the state itself,
Yeah, so she's getting government money, which was actually
state
from,
money,
yeah,
government money. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
You're thinking down the right road that I was. I was just thinking, wait a minute. Getting this
why
government
doing that?
money, and they're
Yeah, have
gonna,
to.
so she's got all this bought in equity.
Yeah,
And if they do it under a land contract and she fails to perform, she could lose all of that because she
that's right.
doesn't own the title to the property.
Yeah.
So I was puzzled as to, well, wait a minute, doesn't the government care that they're giving all this money? She's getting in this house and under a contract for deed or land contract, she's not on the title and she potentially can lose everything if she's more than 90 days late on a monthly payment, on taxes, on insurance, or doesn't maintain the property properly.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
interesting, right? I'm
little
like that.
puzzling. Yes.
I would have thought the government would have insisted on some kind of a, formal title where, she gets a note and a mortgage that's
Yes.
or deed of trust and a note that puts her on the title to the property. So that
Wonder
was
why they
interesting.
want that route. What's the logic you think behind that?
Well, for the note investor, it's smart.
Y-
It's all upside, for them, for the for her. And for the county or the city or the state, wherever the government money came from,
Yeah, but you would think that somebody in the government and all would say, no, we're not somebody's in charge of that. Unless it's just somebody cutting checks and says, okay, we have a contract and not understanding what's going on. You would think that somebody would be say, hey, we're n- we're not going to go this route.
one would think.
Yeah.
So what's our risk in this? Okay, well, she hasn't made a payment, but she risks losing $104,000. Now we could say that's not her money, but it was her money. They compensated her for her house,
Yeah.
so it was her money. Um,
Maybe she can't afford the rest. She just took all that money and put towards it. And now, you know, you don't know her situation.
so again, what's the risk to us? Well, she doesn't pay. And if she doesn't pay because it's a contract for deed in a state that has a contract for deed law, it's hard to find a downside. Now, listen to me, everybody. Nobody comes into this one to take somebody's house. I don't think that'll ever happen, okay? But we have to think through best and worst case scenarios as investors. I'm not saying, man, I can't wait for this lady to mess up and we're going to take this house right out from under her. Don't want to,
Absolutely
not,
not.
not even
Absolutely.
thinking about that. But we have to, go, if worst case scenario happens, we're still totally fine. And by the way, we'd never end up with a house. If she ran into trouble, she'd turn around and sell it. And that would be her out. She would sell this thing for $145,000, pay off the loan, and walk away with her money once again. Okay, so she's good. But again, we just have to go through the exercise of thinking that. So we really don't have a downside in this. It's all upside. And then it's a matter of, well, what kind of a yield can we get on this? And I negotiated a good price on this one. We're at 11.5% yield on this one. So I was still able to get it for a little bit of a discount here. And again, you might be thinking, well, why would the note seller sell it at a discount? Because this, that, and the other. You don't know what the note seller bought this property for. Okay. The note seller bought this property and sold it to her. He bought this property, the note seller, at a deep discount. Note seller's fine. Are you kidding me? They got 140,000, 104,000, I should say, cash at the table. That's a flipper's dream. That's like,
Yeah.
woo,
Sign me up for that all
yeah,
day.
exactly. So they got all that money. So all they had to do is create a little note on this, and the money they're going to make on the note just that's the big cherry on top. They're totally fine. So I figured there might be a discount on this, but you also have to think of other people in the marketplace might say, hey, no risk on this one. I can buy it, right at 9%, or I could buy it at 10%. But I think we came in just under 11% on this one. But my lingering concern was, is there some kind of government thing, because it was government money, that would prevent us from taking any action for a period of time? In other words, could she use that government money as kind of a crutch going, well, I'm not going to pay, but they can't do anything for 5 years because of the government money. That was still a lingering concern of mine. So once again, AI, my friend Grok I looked it up and prompted it with questions. So there's a screenshot of it from earlier.
I
Um,
can't
and I kind
imagine.
of outlined the whole deal here. And they essentially said what surprisingly is they're two separate things. The government's basically just, here's your compensation. What you do with it and what happens,
Exactly.
up to
Exactly.
you. We don't, this is it. This is the end of our relationship here. We took your house, we've allocated this money. You've wanted it goes toward this purchase. We gave that money. Whatever else happens, totally up to you. They don't care.
That's right.
And that's
I
what it
would
came,
bet that's
that's what it came down to. And so there's nothing that prohibits any actions or any of that. They're basically saying we are done and done with this. So yes, it still doesn't impose any restrictions on a private note, mortgage, none of that applies to this whole thing. Um, so everything seems to to check out on that one. And of course on this one, no neighbors like the other one. This all these neighbors are
yeah.
well maintained houses, but that's the first time I've seen one like that where they've used the
I
other.
mean, to your point, you want to keep them in the house. We always want to keep them in the house. We're not
Mhm.
looking to throw anybody out of the house and take advantage of them for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So um, this was another partner deal that I was doing with one of my elite students, and they were happy with the yield. Not looking to knock it out of the park, just look into, I think it was 11, something like that, 11.5%.
11.4. It
Um,
looked like it showed
and
11.47. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, if that was the final offer, I'm not sure. That's why I didn't show that. But
Oh, gotcha.
um, anyhow, I know they didn't get it for 40. Yeah, it was 38.4. It's on there, 38.4.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So pretty two different dynamics there today. One that you really got to think through and weigh out your risk a little bit more. And on the first example I showed you, we deserve a higher return, 100% because we're taking on that additional risk. On the second one that I showed you, there's no real big risk on that one. I cannot imagine a scenario where she's not going to pay the $404 per month. I mean, she's got way too much to give up in that case, and why would they do it? The paperwork on both notes, fine. All the paperwork was done correctly. There was no issues with that. Property taxes were all taken care of. Insurance, so all those things were equal. The only difference that we had there is again projecting through worst case scenario. On this one, no problemo. Worst case scenario on the first one is we're still dealing with that darn neighbor, and that neighbor is absolutely affecting the value of the properties in that area. There's no question about it. So, are there remedies? Sure, and we'll see if we'll pursue those. So, in another episode, I shall make sure I update you on what we decided to do on that, and give you a nice little update. I've got three more, one, two, three, four, three more case studies coming down the road. Two of them pretty darn simple. Got to be honest with you. Those are the old just buy a note, nothing really wrong with it. You'll just continue to get paid on the thing. Um, Oh, the other one we looked at, I think Dwayne, you and I looked at that. I can't remember if we did it on a water cooler or not, but the property tax issue.
Yes.
Did we
Yep.
look at that on a water cooler?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll update you on that one as well.
I've been looking, man, you're killing it with these deals with these elite students. I mean, just killing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got
I was looking in the CRM yesterday and just like, goodness gracious, people are buying notes.
yeah.
Anybody says, "Oh, I got a deal or find a deal," what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. We're finding them no problem. And I got a good phone call the other day. Again, somebody you and I trained in the industry years ago, been in touch with for all these years. And he goes, "Hey, I got a buddy who's uh, retired, wants to sell off a small note portfolio of 5 deals. I'm going through them for you right now, and I'll get those to you. You know, he's making sure everything's cleaned up on them, and these are going to be deals again that somebody bought, I don't know, 10 years or something ago, and it just has held them, and now much older and decide, I'm going to cash out and move on. And so they're bringing them to us first. You know, not going to be available anywhere else. So we'll have all those deals coming in too.
We have two past students that you've trained. You and I have trained over the years that jumped on board. So,
Mhm.
um, you know, they know what they're getting. You know, the
Yeah,
question when I was speaking to them, they're like, I want to get back in the note business, want to get reconnected with Kevin, and that's where I learned the most. So,
yeah,
uh, it's good stuff right now.
yeah. And again, it's it is a game changer when I work with people one on one, and
So
just been
that's the biggest
that's just
difference.
been the big change, and so yep, good times. So 2025 is going to be interesting, and there's a lot of other stuff I've got in the background that I'm working on that is going to shake things up a little bit. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, awesome. All right, everybody. Well, let's see. Website we're sending them to is learn.kevinshortell.com. That's learn.kevinshortell. Remember, that's tle.com. And I think we still have that video series, right?
Yes, so they can sign up. You go on, sign up at the site. You will get a 4 series video collection that Kevin put together, analyzing deals, breaking it down, kind of like what we do on Watercooler Wednesday, but a little deeper dive on some of the assets that you were showing. Great content. I thought it was really good, valuable content for free. You know, just
Hmm.
go in, sign up, and they can have access to that. So,
Yeah,
good stuff.
good deal. And if you missed last week or any other week on Water Cooler Wednesday, I do repost them on YouTube. So just go to YouTube, search my name, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. But we got a lot of good feedback on last week as well. Just kind of
Yes, we
giving
did. Oh,
everybody
absolutely. I was
historical
blasting them
information on
out.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So good deal. All right,
Okay,
thanks
my
a lot,
friend.
everybody. What's that?
I said, okay, my friend, I
All right,
will
sounds
talk to
good.
you soon.
All right, everybody.